Hello, welcome back to Crushing Sounds. My name is Chris, and today I'm reviewing Trumpeting Ecstasy by Full of Hell. So I've just got a quick one for you today. This is another one of those collaboration reviews where I am once again kindly asked by Dennis Music Reviews over on Instagram to look at an album alongside all of these lovely people here. Go follow them on Instagram and check out what they think of the album as well. You may recall the last time I did this, it was with an album by the band Krallice not too long ago. I loved the album, as did Dennis Music Reviews, but many of the people also reviewing it were either didn't like it at all, or were rather indifferent to it. If that album was divisive, this one's looking to be even more so. Yes, thanks to Dennis Music Reviews, I am finally looking at Full of Hell on this channel. So Full of Hell are a hardcore band from Pennsylvania formed in 2009. I say hardcore because that feels like the most all-encompassing way to describe this band. Some people have called them grindcore. I've heard the term power violence more than once. I've even heard the term noise before, as in the genre title noise. Never understood that one myself, but whatever. That being said, on the band's wiki page, where it lists all the members, it literally has their lead singer, Dylan Walker, as being listed as lead vocals, electronics, and noise. So there you go. Can we trust Wikipedia? I'll let you all be the judge of that. So I've wanted to do a proper deep dive into this band for a very long time. From what little I have heard of the band and what my brother Mike tells me, it sounds like it would be right up my street. Something really brutal and really fucked up and evil sounding, basically. We all like a little bit of messed up shit from time to time, right? Not just me. We're all metalheads here. They have also done some collaborations with the band The Body, whom I absolutely love, so that's a plus. In fact, this band have done quite a lot of great things with a lot of different bands. They have numerous split EPs with bands such as Nails and Code Orange Kids, just to name but two. Let's take a closer look at the band's third studio album, Trumpeting Ecstasy.
It's just in nature here is violent bass. Of course there's a lot of misery, but it is the same misery that is all around us. The trees here are in misery. The trees here are in misery.
So these kinds of intros can kind of go two ways with me, as you know. Fortunately, in this instance, it does work. The intro voice is very unsettling, and it does perfectly set the tone for what is to come. And it comes in this same track. It's not a switch into another track kind of deal that you would usually expect. Also, it's being just under a minute and a half is actually quite typical of the album. None of the tracks here go over the 3-minute 15 mark, with the exception of the closing track, which is somehow over 6 minutes. When it does boot off, yes, this is definitely hardcore/grindcore music. Relentlessly fast riffing, a mix of guttural and harsh vocals, and blast beats up the backside. This album picks up speed and very occasionally will bring it back down, but it's beating you over the head with full intensity the whole way through. I don't know if this is simply because I've been listening to the band a lot lately, but I did get some very early Venom Prison vibes from listening to this. Obviously, this band have been around a bit longer than Venom Prison, but that's just a comparison that I picked up on. I can also see why this band did a split EP with Nails. Whether that was their choice or a label decision, I have no idea how that kind of thing works, but the two bands do have a very similar sort of rhythm and pulse to their music. The vocals are nothing alike, to be fair, but the comparison is definitely there, and the link between the two bands is very much easy to spot. This, for example, is shown very clearly on the second track of this album, Branches of You. I absolutely love the mix of both vocal styles being done at the same time near the end of The Cosmic Vein. It's really, really well done and satisfying, and an awesome way to end that really brutal and fast song. The weird voiceover does come back at the beginning of Crawling Back to God. It honestly made me jump a little bit when I first heard it. Everything up to that point had been completely balls to the wall, intensity 11 out of 10, so when the previous track dropped out, just for this weird noise to come in on its own. I wasn't really expecting it. It's a good place to put it on the album as well, just before the halfway mark. After a few songs of complete chaos, it's a cool way to break things up for just a second, just to give your listener a little bit of time to breathe, if nothing else. The song itself also completely rips. It features some somewhat comprehensive guitar riffs as well. Not that there's anything wrong with frenetic guitar rhythm, just was nice to hear some actual structured kind of riffing in here as well as the chaotic style. Fractured Quartz is just completely fucking nuts. Not much more to say there. It leads into Gnawed Flesh. This one is one of the first to really peak and dip the tempo throughout the track, it being the third longest on the album. I appreciate that kind of structure to keep things interesting. It keeps things feeling like they're progressing, even if ironically they're slowing it down. And we have one of those when the riff comes back in, but slower moments. Yes, I pulled the classic face. No, I'm not going to recreate it here. Certainly wasn't expecting that clean singing to start the first minute of the title track. Don't worry, it's clean, but it's still haunting as all hell. It's that really high female vocal noise that just sounds eerie as fuck, which is then preceded by guitar work that is something out of the body. Love this track in particular, might be my favourite on the album. The closing track, At the Cauldron's Bottom, is pretty epic for this kind of music. I love the brutal vocals in the first section. I also really like Nate Newton's of Converge, his contribution to the song as well on the vocals. Despite being the longest song on the album, it's the one where they hold back the most. A riff that repeats for a very long time, and a great drum beat that gets louder and louder and louder until it's overshadowing everything else, until that's all you're hearing by the end. Really cool effect to close the album. I don't know if I've heard that kind of thing done before, but that was really, really caught my attention. Really, really clever way to end the album. It's kind of hard to review an album like this, going on tracks specifically. I could just say it's really fast, it's really brutal, and it's awesome. There are obviously little moments here and there I was able to pick out as we went, but this album does not mess around. It grabs you very early on and only gives you the slightest moments of reprieve before giving you another 10,000 punches to the face. I love the way that all the tracks flow into one another. There are very few pauses on this album, even between the tracks. Some even transition straight into the next one. It makes the whole album feel like one massive cohesive package, almost like it demands you to hear it all the way through. And as well as it being just under 25 minutes, you really have no excuse not to hear it all the way through. It never ceases to wind me up when bands make albums that little bit too long than what they're supposed to be. This track is just shy of 25 minutes, which might seem kind of like a rip-off kind of thing, but for music as chaotic and intense as this, I think it works. I think if it went past the half an hour mark, it would start to feel like a bit of a drag, really. If you're going to keep your intensity at 11 out of 10 the whole way through for that long, you might as well keep it at 1 out of 10, but to keep it short, it's short and sweet. The intensity doesn't lose its impact. It's just in, beats you over the head, and then it's done. I also love the production on this thing. It sounds fucking massive. I know that's what a lot of people, having really rough, thin production is a big aesthetical necessity to genres such as grindcore or even in black metal. That's fair enough. That's personal preference. But there comes a point to me where I find that distracting. I'd rather clearly hear the riffs and the ideas going on while they're murdering my eardrums. I want to know what's going on. This album does just that, and I really, really appreciate that. I referenced a few bands early on that this band reminded me of. Venom Prison, Nails, The Body. Not that any of those bands took from one another. I'm just saying that it's not as if this album is reinventing the wheel necessarily or anything. That being said, to hear a band that has elements like all of those great bands and bring them together in such a convincing, visceral and entertaining way, even if it isn't totally new, is definitely not nothing. I'll reiterate what I said earlier. This album comes in, thrashes your head around for 25 minutes, just under 25 minutes, and then is gone. So thanks so much for watching. Thanks again, Dennis Music Reviews, for asking me to look at a Full of Hell album at long last. Check out all these people's reviews as well over on Instagram. Go show them some support. And if you've got 25 minutes to kill, go check out Trumpeting Ecstasy if you have not done so already. So thanks again for watching. Go listen to some amazing heavy metal, and I'll see you in the next video.